Like, how can you not see these stuff, hear these things, and not see the blatant prophecies that go straight towards Jesus?
I'll tell you what, you've pretty much just sunk my battleship.
Welcome to the Bible in a One Year podcast, brought to you by Two Brits and a Bible.
Today is day 273, covering Zechariah 8 through 14.
So
I'll be honest, mate.
speak in Italian.
What was that? It was Italian? I thought it was like Italian mixed with, like, I don't know, like almost Jamaican or something. It was an interesting blend.
Italian isn't like one of my fortes. It's not a go-to, but I thought with Italian heritage, it might be like when I did Buck's posh British person, and you just popped right into it, old boy.
Hey, it's a day of 273. Yeah.
Much better.
I'm not too bad with the Italian, but I just think of my own nonna. Anyways, what a legend. Anyways, so Zechariah 8 verse 13, just as you, Judah and Israel, have been a curse among the nations, so I will save you and you will be a blessing. Do not be afraid, but let your hands be strong. Again, I've said this a couple of times lately, but God qualifies the call, doesn't call the qualified.
Yes, you said it a different way every time, but it's been the same point. So good on you.
Pretty much. There you go. Quick one to start us off.
Fair. I'm going to sort of make 4 points in one throughout Zechariah here, just because they all feed in. Because Zechariah 8:23, I'm going to read them direct to get them right. 8:23, it says, "This is what the Lord Almighty says. In those days, 10 people from all languages and nations will take firm hold of one Jew by the hem of his robe and say, 'Let's go with you, because we've heard that God is with you.'" I was like, sounds remarkably familiar. Then in 9 verse 9, it says, "See, your king comes to you, righteous, having salvation, lowly and riding on a donkey." And I was like, And then in Zechariah 11:13, it says about, "So I took 30 pieces of silver and threw it at the potter at the house of the Lord." I was like, oh, come on now. And then Zechariah 12:10, where it then literally is saying, "They will look on me, the one they have pierced, and they will mourn for him." I was like, oh, we're done here. Like, how can you not see these stuff, hear these things, and not see the blatant prophecies that go straight towards Jesus? Like, how can you deny that?
I'll tell you what, you've pretty much just sunk my battleship, because almost everything you just said are my next points, and I love that. So I'll just elaborate on a couple of things in there, but you're absolutely, that's good. It all points to Jesus, as you say, and it's like so clearly Jesus, even though it's 500 years before Christ. So from Zechariah 8:23 that you said about them taking hold of the hem of the robe of the Jew, the original Hebrew verb take is actually often more like to grasp and not let go. So that's a really interesting sort of thought about the disciples. And I was just reading about the woman who grabs Jesus's robe as well, right? Because she's been bleeding for 12 years or something, isn't it? And she wants to be healed. But yeah, that adds an extra layer. It's not them just taking the robe, it's them desperately grasping it and not letting go. And believe it or not, I think you'll like this one, Ads. In Exodus 4, about touching the tail, it's the same verb. It's actually the same verb. So when you touch the tail, it's not just touch it, it's like grab it with faith, I guess, that, confidence that God will deliver you through it. So that's kind of cool.
That's very cool. That's good. I like that.
The donkey one, I don't have any extra stuff. That's just cool. Okay, the potter one. So a lot of this is from enduringword.com. So they threw them into the house of the Lord for the potter. Curiously, Zechariah said that the 30 pieces of silver were thrown into the house of the Lord, but that they were also given to the potter, which is exactly what happens, because Judas uses his 30 pieces of silver for betraying Jesus to buy, I think it's like called a potter's field, right?
Yeah.
And that's a place where all the useless, broken bits of pottery are thrown. It's all the damaged, rejected pots, basically. And Jesus purchases the potter's field in the sense that he takes all of us broken vessels, right, and turns us into something good. So there's this weird synergy between those things.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then the only other thing is when it talks about Jesus being pierced, obviously it links brilliantly to the crucifixion, but that also is a direct link to Isaiah 53 as well, right? He was pierced for our transgressions and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's a good chunk of everything I wanted to say today, other than I've got one for Zechariah 14, but you know, when we get there, I'll throw that in the mix, I guess.
Absolutely. Also, I love the "You Sunk My Battleship," which just reminds me of Jasper from The Simpsons when they're playing bingo, and it's like, "B7, you sunk my battleship," and then next one is like, "88, you sunk my battleship," which I'm very sure is more of a Peter Griffin laugh than a
yeah
laugh. But here we are. Life goes on. Can't have it all your own way.
Nice.
Cool. Well, I love that. Yeah, the expansion on those points was fantastic, bro. So thank you very much for that. I was just reading them. I was like, you kidding me? Yeah. I said what I said, and I said it. So Zechariah 11, verse 4, another one of those kind of interesting, weird vision type things, talking about two shepherds. And effectively it's saying the shepherd, okay, this is what the Lord God says, shepherd the flock marked for slaughter. Their buyers slaughter them and go unpunished. Those who sell them say, praise the Lord, I am rich. Then it goes down on to say more about that as well. But I realized that it's just got such little care for the imperfect flock. These were they were marked for slaughter, basically. They weren't good enough for sacrifice or feeding or whatever. They were marked for slaughter. But it was just, yeah, whatever. Sell them, don't care. Whoever sells them, like, yay, I'm rich, thank God. And it's like, actually, there's so little care for the imperfect. And actually, it was kind of the way I pictured it. It was like seen as the imperfect cattle or flock here, and the same way with the poor in our society, are often used as a pawn that can make more money for the higher ups. And God's just cool with that, basically.
Right. Absolutely, dude. That's a really good point. And I think that's a big problem with like politics as well, right? Like politicians will promise something to a certain group, but they're really just using it for points and stuff. And it's really bad. So couldn't agree more. And again, you know, this isn't surprising because we're all fallen, broken idiots, and the human condition hasn't changed. We're exactly the same as Adam and Eve, right? We're all fallen, broken in exactly the same way as them. So seeing the same flaws and faults through all the people in the Bible that we all have, you know, makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
Go for it, old bean.
Yeah, fairly quick one. So Zechariah 13, 8 and 9 was basically saying that 2/3 will be struck down and perished, 1/3 will be left. That third I will bring into the fire. I will refine them like silver, test them like gold. They will call on my name and I'll answer them. And it was basically like the minority is going to be left. And even then, it's not a free ride. There's still going to be testing, but it's all for the good of burning away our sin and our iniquity. So yeah, just trust in God, isn't it?
Love that. And I would need time to like develop this out more, but the whole thing about thirds and stuff, that's exactly how John describes what's going to happen in Revelation. A third is going to be destroyed by this way, a third is going to be destroyed by that way. That's really interesting, dude. Okay, so then Zechariah 14:12. This is a kind of a stupid point, but whatever. This is the plague with which the Lord will strike all the nations that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh will rot while they are still standing on their feet. Their eyes will rot in their sockets, and their tongues will rot in their mouths. And this is so random. If you've never seen Indiana Jones and Raider of the Lost Ark, then you're not going to get this reference, but I think you have, Adam. So at least I've got
immediately, yeah.
When they open the ark, when the Nazis open the ark, and Harrison Ford's like, don't look. They like close their eyes, and all the spirits come out of the ark, and all their faces melt and stuff.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I thought of as I read this. So yeah, stupid. But
I was picturing when he drank from the wrong cup. And the old boy, like, you have chosen wives.
The Last Crusade, yeah. It's you know, Spielberg used the same basic effects for all the people.
Loves a bit of face melting, old Stevie.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. Well, that's pretty much what we're there for today. Tomorrow is going to be Malachi 1-4, last book of the Old Testament. People, good job.
Yeah. So please, if you like this content, share it with other people. Please join us on social media at 2 Brits and a Bible. Thank you very much.